Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. Adjust this a little bit. Sorry about that. Hope everybody is doing well. Busy and productive week. Talk about. We have a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Man, this is a great song that found me on. Listen, this is a great song right here. And I'm gonna sing these words right here. Let me see. Hold on. Sweeter than life. Nothing 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 sweeter than life. When I wake up in the morning and feel alive. Thank God for life. Thank God for life. Yeah. When I wake up in the morning, I feel alive. Sun in my eyes. Thank God for life. There's so much meaning in that song, man. It makes you just more grateful for everything that you're going through. You may not be where you want to be, but you're in the right place, and just being thankful and grateful for where you are and what you have, and just thanking God for where you are going to. So, with that being said, welcome to Thursday Night with Pineapple. I'm your host, Mr. Terrence Ramses, Mr. Pineapple, and Mr. My co-host Maxwell. We out here, doing some great things. So, one of the podcast models, you don't know which angle we coming from. We got another phenomenal guest that's on the live. Also, I am the CIO of Royal Blossom Company, formerly known as Right Brand Clothing, and the mission of the brand is to restore, build, create, to restore all the wealth and resources that have been lost in our communities, to build up the youth and children that are coming behind us, to create a unique commonwealth of like-minded entrepreneurs to put them back in their God-given purpose and talents. And our brand values is to be fun, spirited, and passionate about everything that you do. So we got a few promotions. We got some brand updates.
Feeling
I'm
the
gonna
heat?
go ahead and play
Why not
this.
look just
So
as
we're gonna
hot,
get your
fresh,
pre-orders in.
breezy, and built for island life? Our tank tops got you covered, or almost. Grab yours now before they're gone. Limited stock, mad deals. This is your chance to level up your style. Cool looks, hotter prices. Don't wait. Shop now today.
Listen, go ahead and get your orders in. I'm excited. You need to go ahead and go to the website. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my website. Go ahead and scan this QR code. Go to royalblossomcommunity.co. Scan this code. We're gonna go ahead and get those pre-orders in, man. Like, we got a special promotion on the tank tops. $30 for each tank top. If you get them as the twins are gonna be $55, and the promo code is Island25. So the promo code goes for the Dragon Coolada for the men and the Ocean Blue Oasis for the men. Those two for 55. And the women is the Electric Lemonade and the Blooming Rose Lavender. You'll get both of those for two for 55. The Caribbean based rhythm is not a part of that package, so that one is $30 within itself. So without further ado, when you go to the website, order yours today. Okay? If you want to order yours today, if you don't order yours today, I'm telling you, this thing is going to sell out. It's only a limited stock of these. Okay? So let me go ahead and pull those up. Okay, let me go ahead and pull those up. So here's the Caribbean based rhythm right here. So when it get here, it's gonna be $40. Okay, it's a men and women's version of this. The women's version is a Razorback. Okay, here's the Electric Lemonade right here, what you seen in the promo as well. Scan that QR code. So you got the Blooming Rose here. That's just a vector file of it. Same thing with the Dragon Coolada. Okay, the Dragon Coolada. There you go with that one. I changed up this name so many times. That is just it's just what it is. So we also got some polos coming out for the summer. Getting these polos in. Okay, go ahead and pre-order for those. Pre-order for your our socks. We got new mix and match dad hats. Okay, we got the mix and match dad hats. So also we have those new dad hats that are in. I didn't put some of them on the website. So you got the electric lemonade and the sweet cayenne dad hats. I haven't named those specifically, but those are around that area where I'm gonna name them. So if if you don't know, we got a special deal. Mix and match five for any hats, snapbacks, bucket hats, visors. Mix and match five for 100. And guess what? Guess where we're gonna be this weekend? We're gonna be at the Black Business Bus Tour from 12 to 3. I also sponsor the ticket, so if you haven't gotten your seat, reach out to Miss Candy Lowe. Reach out to my aunt. She's gonna get things cooking for you. Seats is $20. Go ahead. It's this Saturday, April 19th, 2025. The bus is gonna be leaving at 9 a.m. sharp from 11 12 to 11 213 North Nebraska Avenue, Suites 402, Tampa, Florida 33612. Okay, and the Vendors pop-up shop, we're gonna be set up. Okay? You're gonna see a tent that has the Royal Blossom Company on it, and we're gonna be out there with some other phenomenal um vendors out there. I'm sorry, and exhibitors. So without further ado, we're gonna be talking about this phenomenal guest that we have on the line. She has done some amazing things. Hold on, my internet be acting crazy. Sorry about that. My internet was acting crazy. I don't know what. Every time I go live, my internet be acting crazy. But as I was saying, we work through it. That's how we know we doing the positive things that the brand is supposed to be doing. As far as what we're doing this Saturday, we're doing great things on this live. Technical difficulties, without further ado. So I'm gonna show a couple of pictures real quick before I bring on this guest. She's doing some great things for our community. When I first met her, she's been able to draw a lot of our youth to inspire them to read and play with toys and just let them learn about themselves and be passionate about education without being so secular of the education system that we have in our regular public school system. She gives kids hope for what they're doing, you know for anything that they got going on, which I'm so excited to be a part of her journey and knowing her throughout the years. Man, she has some great things. She has some great items, some books. She's connected with a lot of different authors, and I personally know her for about 8 years, 9 years, and she's been in the Tampa Bay area. She's doing some things out there in Mississippi, but she's doing some positive things with our youth and getting the education and spreading the word about making this educational journey fun but not boring, but and inspiring them to tap into their creativity, their artistry, their knowledge, and knowing who they are and who their ancestors were. And she's doing these things, through children's books and through summits and seminars and book drives and things like from her website and her, everything she's been doing. So let me go ahead and bring her on. Her name is Miss Tanisha. What's up, lady?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
It's a little bit of an echo. I think your I think your audio is a little messed up.
Okay. I'm on my earphones, my earbuds.
Thanks, yeah, it's a little echo.
Okay.
Try to go in and come back in like you did the first time. Yeah, we just, sometimes we be having technical difficulties with this technology, man. Technology won't let us be great. We doing some great things. Just how we moving forward. There's a message that needs to be had, and we having internet issues, we having phone issues. That's how we doing some of the Lord's work tonight, because He keep having these trying to knowledge from getting out here. So how
Is that better?
you really?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. How are you doing
Okay.
tonight?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So tell me about yourself, your background, where you from, and in bookstore.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Mississippi. I first moved to the Tampa Bay area in, I think, maybe like 2014, 2015, something like that. And I was there for about 5 years. While I was living in the Bay Area, that's when I started my business. Um, I started out doing uh, like popping up at different events, around the community. Um, and I had a website and things like that. And it was a really good experience being in the Bay Area. It's a lot of diversity. I feel like it's a lot of, you know, support for Black businesses and things like that. I moved back to Mississippi in 2020, was right around COVID. So like I think 2020, I moved back home, and I've been here ever since. Uh, I am still doing like pop-ups and things like that at events here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I did have a physical location for a little while, for about a year. I've since let that go. And, right now I'm hoping to, be in a better location. So until then, like I said, I'm doing pop-ups around the, um, the Mississippi Gulf Coast. While living in Tampa, I did start the Tampa Bay Black Authors Expo. We had our first one in 2019, held out in St. Pete whenever Tiffany Moore had her event hall. So the goal of the Black Authors Expo was just to shine light and support our local authors, in the I think African American and African tradition storytellers are, some of the most revered and honored, people. And, we should still bring that into, today's culture. So we really want to highlight and celebrate our local authors because they're the ones telling our stories. They're your neighbors, your friends, your families, your teachers, things like that. And they need our support. So that was the goal behind the Black Authors Expo. Like I said, the first one was in 2019. We had the second one in, what's on my shirt? 2021. We had our third one last year in 2024. And we should be having our fourth one this year, hopefully around September. Uh, so I guess maybe that's about a nutshell. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. My connection going in and out. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, my connection keep going in and out. I don't know what's going on with my internet. We is not having this problem just a little while ago. Yeah, so how did you come up with your this concept of your bookstore and a toy store? How did you come up with that concept simultaneously?
Yeah, so I've always been a reader, when I was a kid, and we always had books in the house. And so, when I became a parent, of course, you want to pass things on that you enjoy to your kids. And so, that being reading, um, I was finding that it was kind of hard for me to find, culturally relevant books, whether it be at the library or in, mainstream stores. And so I started like posting or sharing on my personal Facebook page whenever I came across books and things like that. And just throughout through doing that, somehow I got the idea of, why not I start a business and, instead of, you know, going out there and searching for these books, why not I be the person to make it easier for parents and families to, just come directly to me and, you know, have those types of items available. So, that's what I did. Started, selling books and other items, toys and other items and things like that, through my business. So I guess it just kind of grew from there, just for what I enjoyed personally, my own personal experiences in finding, like I said, culturally relevant books, and then turning that into just trying to make it easier for other people who might be experiencing the same thing that I was.
Got you, got you. And how long have you been doing this bookstore?
Yeah, so I want to say I started in 2017. So, yeah, so since then, just I know through life and things like that, I kind of took a time period where I kind of took time off, you know. Um, but yeah, since 2017.
Okay. And what would you say the most difficult part about this journey is about with your business?
Yeah, I think, like any small business is just I think, finding your people, finding customers, the struggle of juggling it all, because I still work a full time job. I have a son, so just juggling business and family and work and things like that. Mm,
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
and all the, marketing and things like that, going out and doing events and, working on my website, just, things like that. So I just, I guess just balancing everything and trying to get everything done as a, person and also as a business owner.
Gotcha. What's the next question? I'm sorry. Just trying to connect to my other Wi-Fi because this was acting crazy. So, do you do mainly a mobile store, or do you have a strong online presence?
I would say it's not really a mobile store because I don't have like a vehicle that I drive around places, but I do myself, go to different events in the community. So, like, popping up at different events and things like that. Um, since I've been back in Mississippi, I really haven't focused so much on like e-commerce, like selling on my website, just for logistical reasons, storage and things like that. So I've kind of scaled back on that, and I'm mainly selling in person at these events.
Okay. So you said you was mainly now I switched Wi-Fi's. Now the Wi-Fi's better. So what did you? Can you mind repeating that?
Yeah, no worries. So I wouldn't say that I'm a mobile bookstore because I don't have a vehicle that I drive around places, but I myself, in my vehicle, pop up at different events around the area and set up, and sell. Since I've been back in Mississippi, I really haven't focused so much on e-commerce. So I do have a website, but I really don't sell very much from there, just for logistical reasons. But people can purchase from me different ways, except in person and also through reaching out to me by email or social media or things like that.
Okay. And what? And I was meant to, before I asked that. What age categories do you specialize in, or is it just everybody that can get your books? Is there any specific age groups for your children?
Yeah, so I do focus on children's books. That's from baby on up to young adult. I do also sell some adult books, but the main focus is children's books.
Okay. Okay. And are you any of the authors of any of those books, or it is just other authors throughout the nation?
Yeah, no, I'm not an author. I just sell other people's books.
Oh, okay. Is it easy getting other people's books? Like, how's that? How does that work when you gathering the books and then you trying to go, market them and promote them?
Yeah, so initially when I first started, I was reaching out a lot to independent authors and working with them directly. And, sometimes it has its challenges and, but, whatever. Um, Now I don't do that so much. I mainly order from, different sites that you can order from if you're a bookstore, and things like that. But initially I was reaching out a lot to independent authors, and then I work with independent authors through the Black Authors Expo.
Okay, based off some of the pictures that I shown, I seen that you took a picture with a lot of the young boys or whatever. And my question to you is, how do you think you being entrepreneur that has a variation of a toy store and a bookstore. How do you think your business has impacted the children's lives from all the pop up shops you've been to and the conferences you've been to? How do you think that's impacted them significantly?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that even in 2025, still doing this, it is still people who come up to my table, like when I'm doing events and saying, oh, wow, Black books, a Black bookstore. I didn't know there was a thing, or I haven't seen that kind of a thing. So I think the biggest impact is just access to books, just showing them that these types of things do exist, you know. I mean, I don't expect everybody to be a reader and to love reading, but I think it's one thing when you don't read because it's just maybe not your thing versus not reading because you don't have access to the materials that you would like to read or materials that reflect you, your life, your family, whatever. So, like I said, I think the biggest thing is just exposure of these books and just access, knowing that they do exist and that there is someone they can go to in the community to, get materials like that.
Okay, okay. Now, how often do you do pop up shops? How often are you out, promoting these amazing books?
Yeah, it just kind of depends on life and work and things like that. I try to do something at least, once a month. Um, so, like I said, it just kind of depends. I know the next one I'll have down here will be in May, and then I have something scheduled for June. But I try to do at least something every month.
Okay, okay. So you come out just once a month, pretty much, based on your
Yeah,
schedule.
yeah, just depending on my schedule and things like that, and what kind of events are out there. I try to do something every month at least.
Okay, okay. Are you looking to expand your business anyway? Are you looking to do more, you know, more in person things, or are you looking to do more online sales?
My ultimate goal is to have a physical location. That way I wouldn't have to schlep all these books around and things like that. And people can go to just one, place and see everything. So that's the ultimate goal that I'm working towards.
Okay. T, you mind coming in and coming back out real quick? The sound went up. My sound, I think your sound is up, acting up again.
Okay.
We just having technical difficulties on this live. We ain't never had this type of difficulties. That's how you know she's doing something so purposeful to where the technology was acting so bad. That is crazy. My
Is that
technology, yeah, I can hear you. I was saying, man, the technology acting so bad tonight because you doing something that's so great that the technology is acting so bad. But yeah, so what do you see? What do you see your business in the next year or two?
in the next year or two? I see myself making more connections in the community to where I have more opportunities, to set up and reach people, both here in Mississippi and also with the Black Authors Expo in Tampa, making connections with different organizations or things like that. That makes sense. So, year or two, yeah, that's what I would be working on.
Gotcha. So now you said key thing. You said you want to have a storefront. Now, do you want to have a storefront or do you want to have a storefront slash library?
Mm, well, I will say this. The goal is to have a physical storefront. Something that I've always done, or let me back up. Yeah. So something that I've always done is that, being a bookseller, a lot of times we get free books. And so just through my business and being a bookseller, I've been able to give out books to people, organizations, and things like that. So I would still continue that even in, hopefully my new physical location. So it's always something that I've done is whenever I have the opportunity to, give free books, set up at events as, giving away free books, things like that. So it's always been part of my I don't know, makeup.
Gotcha. Now, do you have any current like partnerships or sponsorships that help you out with your brand to promote your brand and promote the youth and everything that you're doing at the pop up shops? Do you have any of that thing or these things set up?
Mm, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I have made connections with people who will reach out to me, say if they want me to set up at I've done community expos where there's like, free services or things like that. And they want me to come be a part of that and, give out books. Or they may want me to come and be a part of their event. Like for Juneteenth, somebody reached out to me and asked me to be a part of their event because I've done it in the past. So I have, connections like that where people reach out to me for different reasons. So that's always great.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why I asked you about the library and the store combination, what I was seeing in the vision, when I was thinking, cooking up your questions, I was seeing that maybe you can open it up as a combination of a library and a store, but operate it as a 501c. And what you can do is have a library. Just have a library for your children, and you also have a library for the youth, for the adults as well, and also have a small bookstore to where they can rent and bring it back, and also they can make purchases as well. And you can also host different events, community events there as well, and after have like some type of maybe some after school programs, maybe once or twice a week depending on how the schedule is going, to where what you'll do is you can also have like some tutoring services there. Get some extra help for the boys and extra help for the girls, and sit down and talk to them, see where their mind is, see where they are in the public school system, and just and keep them encouraged and um, keep them reading, keep them focused, keep their mind focused, making some programs to where they having fun and keeping themselves engaged, making them keeping engaged to where they want to learn something new because they're looking at the images. The images look like me and you and other inspiring artists and other inspiring black authors and stuff, and maybe having some of those independent book book authors come out and speak to the children, the artists, the anime artists too. Come out there and just talk to them and do some live demonstrations. Maybe give out some free books or something like that. It's just throwing some ideas out there, as maybe to help you out with your vision.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, those are all good ideas. Um, I don't, I never really envisioned, being a 501c3, like, going that route. I know there's some, things you have to go through to get that status set up. So, maybe a very long term goal, maybe something like that. But I definitely would want to have, a space to where, you know, um, I can host community events, community organizations, things like that. I know when I had my physical store a couple of years ago, we had during the summer what was it called? Uh, it was a program where we had men come in and read with young boys. What was it called? Brothers with Books? I can't remember. I think that's what it was called. And we had somebody come in. We had a bunch of books laid out for the kids, and we had men reading with the boys and things like that. So those types of things are always in my mind as far as what else I can do to be of service to my community and things like that. So yeah, whenever I do get my store, I would definitely like to, do things like that.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. Now, what exactly with your bookstore? What exactly? How does paint the vision for us? Show me what the bookstore would look like.
You know, I don't know. It just kind of depends on where I end up. I would definitely like to have, of course, shelves of books and things like that. Like a reading area where people can come in and, just kind of sit for a little bit and read. Hopefully have space to where I can, like I said, host people and have events at my physical location. So yeah. I don't know exactly what it would look like as far as a layout, but hopefully I would be able to do those types of things within the space, big enough to operate and also, like I said, to really be a part of the community and bring the community in.
Hmm, okay. When do you plan on opening up the physical location?
I don't know because that's something that I'm working on. I would say that's like maybe a 5-year goal, you know, kind of a thing.
Okay. Okay. And what would be what right now? What is stopping you from opening your store?
Finding a location, that's affordable, it is really the biggest thing. Finding somewhere, that's got foot traffic and things like that. So just finding the right spot and something that is going to be sustainable for me.
Okay. Now, are you looking to open it? Where exactly do you see yourself opening your business?
Yeah, so somewhere along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I don't know if it would be in my hometown of Ocean Springs or another city along the coast. Like I said, just kind of depends on, what's available and what the prices are looking like. So, um, yeah, I mean, I'm open to anywhere along the Gulf Coast.
Okay. Okay. Do you see? I got another idea. Do you think your toy store would look like a mix of like maybe Toys R Us, KB Toys, and like a Borders books, but for like the children and adults all in one? Would you think about it like that?
Yeah, something like that. Hmm.
Now, would you say the space would be like a Barnes and Noble size or maybe a Toys R Us size?
Wow, that's a good question. When I had my first space, it was actually pretty small. I think it was like maybe 100 square feet, I think, or something like that. It was pretty small, but small but mighty. It was a really cute space, and I did enjoy it. So, and I know other, fellow booksellers that have small shops and some that have, really big shops. So I don't think really necessarily the size of the space matters. I think it's just, where that particular location is, and what, what surrounds you, what options you have as far as, doing things on site or not or whatever. So, you know, I don't know what my goal size would be, but I guess I would just have to see, when I cross that bridge.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, let's see. What would your hours look like if you open this bookstore? How many days a week would you be open, and what would be your hours of operation?
Mm, I guess that would depend on what I have going on in my life at that time. I would probably say, at least the weekends, maybe something like, I don't know, Tuesday through Saturday, something like that. Um, Maybe like, 10 to 6, something like that.
Okay. Now, would you say when you're doing this, what would you say your values? What would be your value and mission statement about Wow and Wow Book and Toy? What would you be your vision? Your vision.
Yeah, so the vision really would want to be just a welcoming space for people who enjoy um, literature by Black and Brown authors. Would be the vision. Like I said, somewhere warm, welcoming, vibrant, um, and like I said, full of Black and Brown faces. So it feels familiar to people, and somewhere that feels accessible to people. And something where people feel like they have a, vested interest in it. Like, we're a part of the community and we're, working together towards this goal.
Okay. So you have a great concept, T. You really do. I would definitely, when you get some time, get in your journal and start just writing down all your ideas, as many as you can. You know, talk to the authors. Talk to the authors and see, how they can assist you, how they can help you out. see if they can, if they know somebody that can possibly help you in this field, maybe help you find a place and, cast some vision and show them what you're doing for the community. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that will back you and support you to where you may not have to come out of your own physical pocket for this. But I would say just have your mission and your values more refined and defined to where when you bring this in front of other authors, they'll be willing to bring this under their colleagues, and they can cast some vision. They'll take your vision and cast some more vision, and then they can bring this dream to a reality. As I believe in what you're doing, because you have something that's unique, but it's just not cultivated yet. And I believe that you're doing some great things, and just stay encouraged and stay focused on purpose, and don't ever let nobody sway you away from what you're doing. Because I mean, this is something that the youth definitely needs. Because the children that come around you, they definitely want to learn, and especially our boys, they don't like learning in public school because they be so zoned out. Not because they don't want to learn, it's because it's the books that they're getting from the public school system.
Hmm.
They nobody want to learn about ancient Mesopotamia. They want to learn about Kemet. That's what they want to learn. They want to see people that look like them. They want to see
Right.
people that act like them. They want to see black and brown images. They want to see short African folklore. They want to see that stuff, and having the elders come talk to them about them and passing some vision and telling them some stories about their experiences. Having the authors come and tell them about your visions and stories. I mean, there's so many different angles that you can look at it and themes that you can do something different every week to where the children are going to always be engaged and to a point where it's going to have to expand, maybe to other physical locations in different cities and different towns, and also having also still cultivating your online presence. Whatever books you have on there, have it on the site, and then also have them in person too. Have just enough to where you can sell online, and just enough to where you can have enough for your pop-up shop to where you don't have too much inventory, but to where you have enough to where you can fulfill orders, and then you can fulfill orders at your bookstore. Just do this thing a little bit at a time, part time, and just looking at the resources you had and utilizing them the best way you can.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely appreciate that. And so thank you so much. That's definitely something that I'm working towards.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty good. So let me ask you, when are you coming back to Florida to see us? We miss you.
Yeah, so I'll most likely be back whenever we have our next expo, which will, like I said, tentatively be in September. I do want to say, though, that to the Bay Area folks, that we are going to have some authors out at the Black Business Bus Tour this Saturday. We're going to have six of them. So, definitely come out and support our our local authors. And, and I think that should be a good event. And like I said, hopefully this is a collaboration that, lives on in the future. And, and we're able to do more things together because this is the first time that, at least from my recollection, that we've had, just a group of authors at the Black Business Bus Tour. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, these are some of the pictures that she's taken at previous events. You
Yep.
know what her stand looks like.
Yep.
And this is another author, or
Yeah, that was I was at a community expo. It was like a free event and they had, medical screenings and testing that you could do. They were giving you food and things like that. And I was there giving away books and that was a young lady who got a free book. So, yeah.
so describe this one for me. Describe this paint, this mural.
That is a picture I believe from when I was in Tulsa. I'm part of a Black Booksellers Coalition, and for the past couple of years or so, we've been meeting in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to just come together, refresh, learn, all that kind of a thing. And I've been twice now, and this I want to say is a picture from one of the local businesses I was in Tulsa.
Okay, okay. She been out there. You know, she's out there. She's moving around the country. She's been what you said Tulsa, you been in Tampa, you been in Florida, you in Mississippi. So you travel all around the country with your business, which is good. And we just gotta increase the awareness of it. It's doing some great things, and people do remember those expos. Um, you said the next one is in September.
Yeah, the next one is planned for tentatively planned for September.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. So tell people how to find you when they want to get some books for you. How they find you?
Yeah, so my website is wowbookandtoy.com, WOWBOOKANDTLY.com. I'm also on Facebook, at Wow Book and Toy. I'm on Instagram at Wow Book and Toy. Um, I'm on Twitter or X, whatever it is, but I don't really fool with that anymore since all that. But mainly can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and my website. Also by email as well, info@wildbookandtoy.com. So any one of those places you can reach out to me. We also have a website for the Black Authors Expo, which is tbbae.com. You can find out information about the Black Authors Expo there and reach out to us there as well. So you can subscribe and be notified of all our events and things like that. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Also, you can scan the QR code. It's gonna go right to her website. You scan it, it's gonna go right to her website, and you'll be able to place an order from there. If you want to get in contact with her, follow her on social media. If you can't get in contact with her, let me know. I'll get in contact with her, and I'll make sure y'all guys get connected. Do you have any closing remarks or comments, questions, or concerns, T?
No, I just really thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure, knowing you and seeing your business grow and go through all the different iterations over the years. And so I'm just so happy to see, you guys still going and all the great things that you guys are doing in the community. So, I just am thankful for the opportunity.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on here, talking about your business, even though we was having technical difficulties, because this is important for the youth. We gonna get it. We gonna still get this message out here. We gonna edit the video. We gonna get this right. So, with that being said, we appreciate you, T. And till next week, we're gonna have another phenomenal guest, like we said before. Pineapples quote is, you just don't know which angle we coming from. We come from multiple different angles and arenas and different industries. So with that being said, everybody be blessed and have an amazing night.